So let's discuss some other barriers that you might encounter when trying to maintain your exercise program. So here are some common barriers that people often report to exercise. We've already discussed a lack of time and how to overcome those issues of time, which also kind of play into your change of plans or competing obligations such as school, work, and other family issues that you may have. We've talked about how in time management that you really have to plan ahead for those. Other issues that might come up is that you might be feeling tired. Well, you have to kind of think about, are you really feeling tired, or are you just feeling tired from sitting all day? Actually, the more you exercise, the more energy that you'll have. Other barriers such as weather, or maybe you don't have any facilities or a place to go. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And finally, the lack of support or resources. We actually spend a whole video, and that's the next video that you'll get, on how to factor in support systems for yourself. When it comes right down to it, these barriers that we have to overcome really come down to pragmatically excuses 90% of the time. 10% of the time, they really are barriers that we just can't overcome, such as a child being sick, or maybe, the weather really is horrible and it's snowing outside, or whatever it is, those things will occur. But the 90% of the time, what we really have to do is prepare for these barriers to come into place. Really looking at our schedule, figuring out where these disruptions can occur, and then scheduling exercise at a time when these disruptions are the least likely to occur. That's why everyone says that morning exercises are the best, or the best time to exercise, which simply means that barriers are less likely to get in the way in the morning than later on in the day. For me, that doesn't work out. My biggest barriers pragmatically are my work and my children. And my children are way in my way in the morning. So morning exercise routine doesn't necessarily work for me. But I've really used these steps in the next few slides to really think about how I'm going to be able to schedule things and overcome these barriers. The first, I think, is the most important, is to anticipate. Barriers are going to occur. So what happens if things are going to pop up? If something needs to be attended to or is part of your work, how are you going to take care of that? Really thinking about when these barriers are going to occur and then taking action so that you know when they can occur, and planning around it is extremely important. So that's the second step, the plan of action. What are you going to do? If you've planned to run outside and it's too hot or cold or raining, where are you going to go? If you've planned to go to the gym but your child is sick, what are you going to do? There's many things that we can do to get around our obstacles or our barriers. So for example, I have at-home workouts that I do when my children are sick and I can't get to the gym. What other things do you have to overcome? And then think about how you can work around those if they do occur. Finally, I think one of the things that's most important is setting up your own environment. Think about how you can strategize your life to incorporate exercise. We can park further away and walk indoors. We can make sure our gym bag is packed the night before. We can really think of that every single day is a journey to exercise and to be physically active. What are some things that you can set up in your house, in your job, at school, wherever it is, to make sure that you're more active? Do you need a bouncy ball to sit on at your desk, a standing workstation maybe, setting up an exercise routine for when you do the laundry? Whatever it is, think about your environment as a way that you can be physically active throughout your day. And step 4, I think, is very, very important. You have to realize that these setbacks are temporary, and that these things will occur, disruptions will happen. But we don't have to wait till Monday to start over. So for example, if you've had a rough day on Tuesday and Wednesday doesn't work out, we have a tendency to say, oh, we'll just start on Monday. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to start back as soon as possible. Think about that you really need to jump back into it. you're going to begin to lose things in terms of exercise benefits within 72 hours after that you've worked out. So you really want to think about getting back on an exercise horse as soon as you can. So now it's your turn, and this one's really important. You really have to think about, what barriers do I have to overcome? What plan can I implement? How can I use my environment to help implement my plan? So sit down and really think about these so that you're able to overcome these barriers when they happen.